Good evening, everyone. It is that time again. So, welcome to the Hillbilly Think Tank. This is Spencer Keck coming at you live from Tunnel Hills here in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. You know, y'all, as someone who is running for magistrate here in the 3rd District of Hardin County, gotta say, um, it's been quite a year, hasn't it? And are we ready for next year? I know I am ready to hit the ground with running shoes on, ready to roll. But until then, got a couple things I'm wondering about. You know, today is the day that the files are supposed to be released. We're supposed to get those Epstein files, all thousands and thousands of pages released. What do? They didn't release them all. And if you look at them, they're so heavily redacted, it's just pages and pages of black ink. Amazing, right? Keep getting more photos released. Um, those have a lot of damning information in them, just the photos themselves. But aren't you excited to hear that, hey, maybe we didn't get the Epstein files released, but we are going to get the Hunger Games next year? The president's announced it. The Hunger Games are coming to DC. We're going to have 2 children from each state, 1 boy, 1 girl. Sound familiar? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he knows that Katniss really is just a fictional character. You know, I know that the person portrayed in that was as young as he allegedly likes him, but I'm not going to send my teenager to that, even if my teenager qualifies, because, yeah, we don't need to have them sent up to pedophile central. No. There's also going to be a UFC fight. So I guess if the Hunger Games isn't bloody enough, oh, I'm sorry, he's calling it the Patriot Games, but he is asking for serious for 1 boy, 1 girl from each state to go up there and compete in DC, and then they'll have a UFC fight. They can watch. Yeah, that's just exactly what I want my team to do. Oh boy, no, forget about it. Release the Epstein files. Damn it. Oh boy. Did we blow any more boats out of the water today? Or did we go ahead and just invade Venezuela yet? I mean, anything but release the Epstein files. Let's see what else we might have. Well, in addition, I was going back and look at some comments that people made in the past. Um, Wise Buzzard, you ask, have you heard the Charlie Kirk thing? I'm not sure what we're referring to with the Charlie Kirk thing. But I guess maybe I haven't heard it. If there's something new, I haven't heard it. Sorry. Anyway, you know, if we're not going to invade Venezuela, thought we, which we know we are, we got to do anything but release these files. But I was going back and looking. Last administration, one of my personal heroes that I served under when I was with the 1st Marine Division was General James Mattis. You so General Mattis was a 1-star general when I was in Afghanistan, and I was the senior corpsman for the Special Operations Platoon of the 15th Marine Expeditionary Unit that he was in charge of when the attack happened, and we were first ones into Pakistan and Afghanistan. But of course, as you know, he became the Secretary of Defense, and he was the Secretary of Defense under 45 when 45 had his first term, now 47, likes to say that this guy was a horrible general, even though he made him Secretary of Defense. But it's because, if you remember, James Mattis denounced Trump and described him as a threat to the Constitution. You know, if you have the general that I had in Afghanistan when I was with 1st Marine Division, after I left the 1st Marine Division, when we came back from Afghanistan, I went on to Sigonella, Sicily, where I was a senior line corpsman for an EOD unit that the Navy had there at the time. And while I was with the EOD unit, Mattis was in charge of leading what you might as well just call it what it was, a blitzkrieg across Iraq. He was one who led that attack and made it as successful as it was. Well, he said that when he stepped down as the Secretary of Defense, one of the best Secretary of Defenses we've ever had, in addition to one of the best generals we ever had before that, when he stepped down, he said that it was to protest Donald Trump's Syria policy. And ever since then, he has broke his silence back in 2020. And that was June 3rd, 2020. And he said that the president divided the nation, accused him of ordering the U.S. military to violate the constitutional rights of American citizens. He said, "I have watched this week's unfolding events angry and appalled. The words equal justice under law are carved in the pediment of the United States Supreme Court. This is precisely what protesters are rightly demanding. It is a wholesome and unifying demand, one that all of us should be able to get behind. We must not be distracted by a small number of lawbreakers. The protests are defined by tens of thousands of people of conscience who are insisting that we live up to our values as people, and our values as a nation." He went on, "We must reject and hold accountable those in office who would make a mockery of our Constitution." That is what General James Mattis had to say about 45, who he served under as Secretary of Defense, all the way up until he saw the president's response in Syria. And that he knew was such a bad response that he resigned. And he kept his mouth shut until June 3rd of 2020. He couldn't take it anymore, what he saw going on. He tried to warn us. Now, does that sound familiar? Does that sound exactly? Actually, that sounds worse to me than what the folks said that told the current active duty troops, hey, you have a duty not to obey unlawful orders. Here he said, we must reject and hold accountable those in office who would make mockery of our Constitution. All right? So this is just precisely where we are now. He could say these words again, and it would still ring true or more true now. Yeah. So what is it that it's going to take for us to listen to someone like General Mattis? General Mattis was by no means a Democrat or even necessarily a Republican, but he is an American true patriot, one of the best leaders I ever served under, possibly one of the best generals that the United States has ever known. I even have a best friend who is a retired major in the Marine Corps. He and I were hospital corpsmen together before he went and changed services and joined the Marine Corps, got commissioned once he got his degree. And he named his son Mattis. That's how much he thought of him. I thought how much the Marines think of him. You know, also, I look back at another Marine Corps general who served under 45, and that is General John Kelly, who was the chief of staff under 45. He confirmed that Trump called American service members suckers and losers, refused to visit their graves, and they didn't want to be seen with amputee veterans because they make him look bad. Right? So to me, this is congruent with the fact that recently Dozing Donnie banned the use of sign language interpreters because they intrude on his ability to project his image in the way he wants. All right? He doesn't care about disabled Americans. They make him look bad. That should not be anything that this great nation tolerates. We are strong, but we're strong because we protect the weak. I was proud to be a sheepdog protecting the Constitution, protecting the First Amendment, protecting folks' rights to use the First Amendment in all of the ways that the First Amendment tells them it can be used. Everyone can assemble and redress their grievances to their democratically elected government. Everyone. That is our right. We also have a right not just to peacefully assemble, but to worship or not worship in the way we see fit, regardless of what Secretary Kegsbreath tells the chaplain corps of the U.S. Army and the rest of the military. Right? Remember that First Amendment. We have freedom of the press also guaranteed by it. So, freedom of speech guaranteed by it. Freedom of speech. Not just the speech we want to hear, but the freedom of speech. It's a big deal. We cannot lose these rights, but they're being trampled on. And General Mattis warned us about it. He couldn't stand silent anymore, even though he had stepped down at that point when he said that. He had stepped down from 45's administration. And then 45, now 47, wanted to say that he was the worst general that there ever was. Well, you should go on to YouTube, look up his speech when he was joking about that at a dinner where he was the honored guest. He calls it out the way it is, right? So we need to guard our constitutional rights. Second Amendment, I'm all about it. But I'm not going to just hold on to one amendment and ignore when the First Amendment is trampled all over. Not going to do it. You just don't get to pick and choose which amendments you like the best when it comes to those first 10 amendments that are our amendments that guarantee us our inalienable rights. So, guys, we either really believe in our Constitution or we don't. We really believe in a constitutional democracy or we don't. I don't want a theocracy. I don't want an oligarchy. I want our democracy. I want it to be stable again. Let's stabilize it. Let's make sure my family that I chose and that chose me can be safe in this nation, that we can be secure in the knowledge that if we don't agree, we're not going to be shut out, shut down, turned away. We're all going to be in this together, regardless. And we can agree, we can disagree, we can agree to disagree, but agree that we're never going to agree. But we still have to come up with working compromise. That is what makes democracy effective, not my way or the highway style, which we've been seeing under 45 and under 47. It's got to change. It's not helping Kentucky. And the rooster has been crowing for a while now. He's been telling us December 31st comes around. That 7th and 8th day of Christmas, that's not going to be good when this Affordable Care Act goes away. But hey, we'll have our Hunger Games to look forward to, right? People will be dying from lack of health care, but they'll be able to have good entertainment with the Hunger Games. Yeah. Well, y'all, we're going to save this democracy in a republic. And it's going to be up to you and me. Only you can do it. Only I can do it. We're made in America. And we make America what it is. We make it rise with everyone together, or we sink it together. And it's too precious to be treated as something that we could sink or drown. All right. Merry Christmas. 'Tis the season. I'm going to try to be jolly. So, love your neighbor as yourself. I am my brother's keeper. I'm my sister's keeper. Vote for me, District 3, Magistrate. God bless your corazon.